And just to remind you, I am from Great Britain. So our announcer, Jamie Stangroom, also of Great Britain, is making some introductions at the moment to the finalists. We'll run through those for you in just a second. So we'll have 2 series of 5 shots. There's 150 seconds per series. And then from shot 11, we move to single shots where each athlete has 30 seconds to fire their shots. Big crowd that have gathered here in the finals hall, which is wonderful to see. We are on day 4 of the WSPS World Cup, and it's been absolutely superb so far. Everything's been organised so well. Everyone's been so friendly, so welcoming. Made some friends, which is always nice. If you are joining us on YouTube, then feel free to leave some comments. And likewise, if you're joining us on Facebook, then you're very welcome. Thank you very much for coming along. So we have 2 French athletes in this final, one from the home nation of Germany, also from Austria, Ukraine, Slovakia, Slovenia and Italy. So our announcer, Jamie Stangroom, has just introduced the jury member in charge. There is our chief range officer. That's Ralph Horneber of Germany, who is instructing the athletes to take their positions, which they'll do so. The jury member in charge is Wolfgang Pfaffenberger. There's Jamie Stangroom, our announcer from Great Britain. Very experienced announcers, been all over the world with the ISSF and also with the para shooting sport as well. He was at the World Championships in Sydney 2019. So here's how they line up then. Tanguy de la Forêt of France was top of the table as far as qualification was concerned. Andrea Liverani also makes this final. Kristina Funkova and Moritz Morbius, along with Francek Tiesiek, Justine Bev of France, and Vitaly Shitnik from Ukraine, and Johann Weinhofer from Austria. So that's how they qualified in terms of the lineup. Of course, that's been adjusted to their shooting positions, and we'll take you through those in just a second. It's nice to see a big crowd who have gathered here. There's Kristina Funkova of Slovakia. And that's Jean-Baptiste Jetty. That's the assistant of Tanguy de la Forêt. And Jean-Baptiste in the glasses there. I do like his lime green ear protectors as well, and headphones. So just some of the cameras that we have here, which are further down this 50-metre range. This wonderful facility that celebrates its 50th birthday in the next few weeks. The Olympics started here on the 26th of August 1972 and ran through to the 11th of September. But the Paralympic Games at that time was actually held over in Heidelberg, which is a fair old distance from Munich. Ordinarily now, though, these days we're more used to the Paralympic Games following the actual Olympic Games and being pretty much in the same city and using exactly the same facilities. So everyone's just settling into this final. We're about to go through the lineup for you. Here we go. So on firing point A, this is Tanguy de la Forêt. That's his assistant, Jean-Baptiste Jetty, standing next to him, just making sure that Tanguy is settled in, together with his sister Patricia. He co-founded DEFI, and which is a recruitment company for people with impairments. It's a very worthy thing to have done, isn't it? That's very, very commendable. So he's on firing point A representing France. Lots of French support here as well. Let's move on then to firing point B. This is Moritz Morbius of Germany, the home nation. His sister Lucia has competed in shooting at youth regional level in Germany, so clearly runs in the family. And that's not unheard of for siblings as well to be involved in the sport as well. Now here's Johann Weindhofer of Austria, our eldest competitor in this final, the most experienced. He certainly knows his way around a finals hall, this guy. His idol, Austrian parachuter. It's always good to have an idol, isn't it? Moving on to firing point D, Vitaly Shitnik of Ukraine, and that's Mikhail Malkovich. Yes, Hubert Orfschnatter is Johann Weindhofer's idol. So Vitaly also competed in both cross-country skiing and biathlon at the Para Winter Olympic Games in 2010, 14 and 18 as well. I do love a biathlon. Wonderful, wonderful sport. So here's Kristina Funkova from Slovakia. Slovakia have been doing great in the medals table so far. Another silver earlier on today in the mixed team. So her idol, Slovakian parachuter Veronika Valdovichova, who is here today. I can just see her down to my right. She's clearly texting somebody on her phone at the moment, but I'm sure she'll be paying attention to this final in just a second. Here's firing point F. This is Justine Bev of France. She's the second French athlete in this final of the 8. So does that mean France have a higher chance of winning a medal? Who knows? Her father Luc has competed in motocross as well in France. Now there's a very, very tricky sport to get to grips with. Moving to firing point G then, here is František Tiesiak of Slovenia. Our second eldest competitor in this final. Made a final earlier this week as well. And champions are made in coldness, moisture and darkness. I do like that. And then finally we'll move to, here we are, firing point H, and this is Andrea Liverani of Italy. Has also made finals during this World Cup so far. And that's Ophir Goldstein just standing in the background there, just helping Andrea adjust his rifle, as you can see. That's what the assistants are there for. Ophir Goldstein, very, very experienced as well. They're a great partnership, these two. Andrea's also played wheelchair basketball as well. Now there's a sport so fast-paced. It's brilliant if you've ever seen wheelchair basketball. He's played even at national level. He's got league titles, all sorts. So there's Ophir Goldstein just making sure everything's present and correct for Andrea Liverani before he starts this final. We've got just under 2 minutes to go of the sighting time, and then the Chief Range Officer, Ralph Horneberger, will call stop. And then we have 2 series of 5 shots, and you have 150 seconds, 150 seconds for each series, and then single shots. So here's how they line up then. It's De La Forêt of France at firing point A. We've got Mobius of Germany on B, Weindhofer of Austria on C, Sitnik of Ukraine on D, Funkova of Slovakia on E. We have Bev of France, the second French athlete, on F. And on firing point G, Tiesiak of Slovakia. And finally on firing point H, Andrea Liverani of Italy. There's our jury member in charge of this final. It's just under 1 minute now to go on the sighting shots. Jean-Baptiste Jesse helping Tunji De La Forêt. And there's Jörg Dietrich, who's helping Moritz Mobius. Johann Weindhofer at the moment, just by himself. So experienced. 30 seconds left of the sighting shots before we get underway into this final. So if you have just joined us here on YouTube or perhaps on Facebook, my name is Rory McAllister. Thank you very much for joining in. If you're on YouTube, feel free to leave some comments, give your support, and we'll keep our eye on those and read out the best ones. This is day 4. It's the second final of day 4 of the Munich 2022 WSPS World Cup. So the sighting time is now over. This is the 50-metre rifle prone SH2 classification. This is a mixed final as well, both men and women. So I can see 2.5 minutes have already been put on the clock. That's 150 seconds. And the Chief Range Officer now calling for the first competition series to start. And he's given the load command. They've got 10 seconds to load and then call start. And it's 10 seconds for loading time just because some of the athletes need assistance. Here's Tunji de la Forêt. He's already made a final this week. And we're up and underway. Shitnik of Ukraine, first shot, 10.9. Look at that. Wonderful. What a way to start. That's our second 10.9 of the day so far. 10.6 from Tirshek. Liverani with a 10.4. Also a 10.4 from Bev, France. .3 though from Siknik after a 10.9. Just shows you can go from perfection to firing in the 9 ring. Some good grouping from Bev at the moment. He's pretty much keeping things in the 10s. The last shot was a 10.5. Mobius of Germany with a 10.6. .6 now from Sitnik, so correcting that 9 shot. De la Forêt's last shot is in the 9s, it's a 9.7. Just looking at Funikova now. Who's completed all of her 5 shots in this series. Her last shot was a 10.0. 10.7 from Weindhofer of Austria. So we're just waiting for the final shot. There it is, of the series. And that means that the first series of 5 shots has now been completed. Tirshek of Slovakia leads the competition. A 0.3 difference. Look at that. There's a tie for third as well. Justine Bev and Andrea Liverani, both tied on 51.4. So some narrow margins to begin with in this final. More French supporters arriving. It really is packed out, this final sort here in Munich. So here we go, the second series of 5 shots is now about to begin. There's Sitnik of Ukraine, who in the last series opened up with his very first shot as it was 10.9. Mobius of Germany with a 10.6, that's the highest shot so far. Tirshek also with a 10.6, who's leading the competition. There's Kristina Funkova, Slovakia, and that's Milan Golinia, her assistant, just standing there in the red. This is Francesca Tierschek. Liverani with a 10.8 for Italy, look at that. 10.6 from Shitnik of Ukraine. And Mobius with some decent grouping as well, another 10.3. .6 from Della Fore and a 10.7 from Weindhofer, just showing his experience. 10.6 from Bev of France. That grouping from Mobius served him well because he's moved up the scoreboard to the top as it stands. So he's waiting now for the final few shots of this series. Each athlete completing another 5 shots.
Stop.
So that's the end of the second series. 10 shots down now in this final, and Mobius of Germany finds himself now at the top. Could it be another gold for the home nation? Well, we'll have to see. So Mobius 0.7 is the difference between himself and Justine Bev of France. Tied with Andrea Liverani for second place, those two, both on 103.0. And again, also a tie for fourth, De La Fore and Shitnik, tied on 102.2. So we're now into single shots. So this is shot 11. The next shot will determine our first elimination from this final.
Start.
.8 from Bev. Big applause as well from the French support here. Weindhofer with a 10.7. De La Fore with a 10.7 as well for France, hence the cheering from the French team. Mobius still leads. Look at the difference now, though. It's only 0.1. So that's been narrowed down. The next shot will determine our first elimination. At the moment, that's Kristina Funkova of Slovakia, who's also 1.3 behind Tierschek. So she's got some work to do here.
Start.
Just a few adjustments made on her rifle there. That's Milan Golinia, her assistant, just standing next to her. She takes this shot to try and stay in this final. So she's hit a 9.7. That's not going to be enough, which means she's leaving this final now in 8th position. So the first finalist eliminated is Kristina Funkova from Slovakia. Did so well to make this final. In fact, making any final is a wonderful, wonderful achievement. So Mobius of Germany still leads. The difference now 0.2, so that's only gone up by 0.1. Bev of France and De La Fore of France are both there next to each other in second and third. So could it be another medal for the French? Look at some of those differences, though. Tierschek down at the bottom there, but only 0.1 behind Johann Weindhofer. So this is shot 13.
Start.
That's another 30 seconds on the clock. Slightly different times for different classifications of events.
Stop.
10.6 from Tierschek. What did Weinhofer here? A 10.4. Certainly needed that. So the difference between those two now really, really close. Is only 0.1. Meanwhile, Bev of France takes the lead. Again, the difference only 0.1. So we've got the 14th shot, which will be elimination for 7th place at the moment. In danger of elimination is Johann Weinhofer of Austria on firing point C.
For the next competition shot, load.
The difference is only 0.1 between him and Tierschek. Here they both are.
Start.
Fine margins in shooting, there really is. 0.1 separates these two. They're now shooting to stay in this final. Weinhofer with a 9.8. Tierschek, yes, yet to shoot. Or a 10.3. It means that Weinhofer will leave the final in 7th position. So representing Austria, Johann Weinhofer. Leaves on a total of 142.5. That still leaves Bev at the top of France. Difference now of 1.0 at the top. The two French athletes are 1 and 2. It's Bev from De La Forêt, and the difference is 1.0. So a very close and exciting final. Look at some of those differences. I said 1.0 between the top two. 0.1, look at that, between Mobius and De La Forêt.
For the next competition shot, load.
So the next shot, this will be shot 15. Can Bev of France increase this lead? It's a French 1-2 as it stands. .4 from De La Forêt and a 10.1 from Bev, so it means De La Forêt just closes that gap to 0.5. But down in 6th place at the moment, in danger of elimination, representing Slovakia, we've got Franček Tierschek, who's on 153.3. The difference, though, is 0.3. So Tierschek could save himself here. It's Sitnik of Ukraine who's above him. 0.3 is the difference.
Start.
So once again, Tierschek finds himself in an elimination battle. He's been here just a few moments ago. Bev with a 9.9, Tierschek with a 9.9, and Sitnik with a 10.2. So it means that Sitnik of Ukraine survives, leaving this competition in 6th place, representing Slovenia, Franček Tierschek. So there's his assistant, Araneto Stearman, just helping Franček away from his firing position on G. So representing Slovenia leaves this final. So meanwhile, it's still a battle between the two French athletes at the top. Look at this. We've got Justine Bev and Tunguy De La Forêt, who are both tied on 165.2. Then Mobius of Germany just 0.5 behind. 0.1 the difference between Liverani, who's in 4th and 3rd as well. So Chief Range Officer's just called stop for some extra time, just to make sure that Franček Tierschek is back with his coach, away from the firing point. So two French athletes tied, and there's only a 0.5 difference as well from Mobius of Germany. Here are the joint leaders. France battling it out. 10.5 from Bev. De La Forêt with a 10.8. Look at that. So he now leads the competition. What a shot. Brilliant. Très bien. So this will be shot 16. This is going to decide fifth. Now, Sticknik of Ukraine is in fifth position at the moment and 0.4 behind Mobius of Germany, who has slipped down from third to fourth. It's Liverani who creeps up the scoreboard to third. It's still the two French athletes at the top. So here's shot 16 to decide fifth place even. Sorry, did I say 16? I meant shot 18. Shot 18.
Start.
So another 30 seconds on the clock. The athletes have just not very much time at all to make their shot. The clock ticks down so quickly. So here's Sticknik and Mobius battling it out to stay in this final. Sticknik with a 10.1, Mobius with the same. So that means that Vitaly Sticknik of Ukraine leaves this final. So it won't be another medal for Ukraine. They've had 11 medals from this World Cup so far. And in this particular final, no medal, but a fifth place finish, which in a final of this caliber is a big achievement. So Vitaly just takes his seat now. So De La Forêt and Bev of France battling this out. 0.5 is the difference. Andrea Liverani of Italy in third and Mobius of Germany in fourth. Down to the final four. Only 0.5 difference between the two French athletes at the top. Very, very exciting.
Start.
Here's Tungji De La Forêt, the competition leader. Can he hang on to that 0.5 gap or even increase it? Well, Bev scored a 9.8, Liverani with a 9.5, so De La Forêt gets in the 10s here. No, 9.4. Mobius, the only athlete with a shot in the 10, that was a 10.3. So De La Forêt of France, the difference is now only 0.1. So close. And there's lots of chatter and murmuring and cheering from the crowd gathered here in Munich in the finals hall. So now into the closing stages of this final on day 4 of the Munich 2022 WSPS World Cup. It's the two French athletes at the top, De La Forêt and Bev, Mobius of Germany, and then Liverani of Italy. Liverani is 0.2 behind Mobius. That's the difference between these neighbouring countries and now neighbouring athletes. Oh, big cheer. De La Forêt hits a 10.7. Meanwhile, Mobius and Liverani, it's all switched round. So representing Germany, just because that last shot, Liverani with a 9.9, Mobius with a 9.5. So leaving the final in 4th place, just missing out on a medal. Moritz Mobius of Germany leaves this final and therefore leaves firing point B. So France are definitely going to get a medal here. Just depends now which two colours. Italy also guaranteed a medal. It's Tungji De La Forêt who leads. Look at the difference though, 0.2 from Justine Bev and Andrea Liverani. 1.6 behind in third. It's makeable, that difference, to try and close that. Just Liverani needs some high shots. Definitely 10.6s or higher, I would say. Might even get away with a 10.5 if the two French athletes start to waver. There's Justine Bev. He's only 0.2 behind De La Foret. 10.3 from Bev. Liverani with a 10.3. Is that enough? De La Foret with a 10.1. So the difference closes. So we have a tie at the top now. The two French athletes have been so close throughout are now tied on 216.9. 1.6 behind is Andrea Liverani. So at the moment, unless something really does change here, Liverani's looking like he could be shooting for bronze. Obviously, he'll have bigger ideas than that and just be looking to hit the highest he can and hope that one of the French athletes makes a mistake. 30 seconds on the clock for this single shot to decide bronze. .5 from Bev, 9.9 from Liverani. It's looking like bronze. Yeah, De La Foret with a 10.7. So the first medal of this final has now been awarded, representing Italy, Andrea Liverani with a bronze medal. Plenty of applause and appreciation from the crowd gathered here in the finals hall in Munich. That's Ophir Goldstein, who's just helping Andrea there. So it's the two French athletes who are left, and Allez Le Bleu rattles around the finals hall, which means go the Blues. Tanguy de la Foret, look at the difference, 0.2 as we now move into the stage to decide gold and silver. Lots of cheering. So France at the moment have 4 medals. They're about to tally that up to 6. So De La Foret with a 10.2, Bev with a 9.8. So it's swung into De La Foret's favour even more now. The difference is 0.6. Now, unless that 0.6 gap is closed and therefore equalled, it will go to a shoot-off. Otherwise, this will decide the gold medal.
Start.
30 seconds on the clock. It's France versus France. Bev versus De La Foret. 10.2 from Bev. De La Foret needs to hit a 9.5 or lower to lose the gold, but that isn't what's happened. A 10.2 from Tanguy de la Foret of France. Superb performance. It's a gold medal. There he is. Looks exhausted, can't believe it. Whips off his cap. Punches the air. Allez Le Bleu. French supporters having a great time here. Well, you'd expect it, wouldn't you? You just win 2 medals. They had 4, they've now got 6. There's Justine Bev, who gets a silver medal. Final total of 247.4. So what a great final that was. The 50-metre mixed rifle prone, SH2. The medalists just lining up at the front. So the bronze medal representing Italy goes to Andrea Liverani. The Italian team will be happy with that. Italy were on 2 medals. They've now got 3. And France have jumped up to 6 as well. So there's Andrea on the right of your shot. And Justine Bev of France is the silver medalist. And Tanguy de la Foret of France just been put in the middle there as the gold medalist from this final. That was a great bit of world-class shooting from the 2 French athletes in the closing stages there. Great bit of competition, camaraderie, also sportsmanship as well.
So, Munich, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the medalists for the R9
So here's how it finished. If you have just joined us, well, you've missed the final, but one thing you haven't missed is the medal announcements. So the bronze medalist representing Italy, Andrea Liverani, notches up another medal for Italy. They're now on a total of 3. They've got a gold in the mixed team. They also had a silver in one of the team events and now have a bronze in the individuals. So the 2 French athletes, the gold and silver. First of all, Justine Bev of France is the silver medalist, all smiles.
Gold medal, representing France,
And Tanguy Delafore punches the air, absolutely delighted. The gold medalist in this final, a gold and silver for France and a bronze for Italy. What a final, enjoyed that. We'll be back then in about an hour's time. The next final is the 10-metre air rifle. That's visually impaired. And the final is due to start at 1:30 local time here in Germany, so we'll be on air from around 20 past 1:20. So from myself, Rory McCusker, and the team, we'll see you in about an hour's time. Cheerio.